One quick point too, you can use, correct me if I'm wrong, you could use spouse income to offset that too though, right? Or other income.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Correct.
Yeah, that could flow against the other way, yeah.
Yeah, so I've got a deal right now where, for instance, this is actually a vet deal, and she's a startup, and although she started, let's see, was it September 2007, so she's really only been in practice for 2 full years. She's already grossing about $800,000. We have the original startup note of $525,000, so we're going to refinance that. You can see her revenue trends are going up, so you can't necessarily say, well, this is historically over the past 5 years or 3 years the exact amount of money that practice will make, because we don't know when she'll hit that so-called ceiling. But because of that, she doesn't necessarily cash flow. Well, the husband makes $90,000, and we're throwing that in, and that pushes us. I think it was at a 1.19 when we put him in. It put us to like a 1.32. So it turns out the husband's income really helped it out.
Okay. These loans don't report on credit, except inquiry, obviously a hard inquiry that would be triggered when they get the application in, I presume, and default event. That makes sense, right? Am I get that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Dental and vet practice is the most reliable field, and I think dental even better than vet, personally. Doctor's license under 2 years, that means someone fresh out of dental school or school may have additional requirements and challenges. So I don't think too many guys get out of school and are ready to buy a practice anyway.
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised.
Well, they may think they are, but they're not. Oh, gosh. But there are some that are applying. So they're going to be more conservative with those kind of people, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to be more conservative. Well, the point is some, you get the guy that is right out of school in dental school, and you get that same guy says, I want to start a practice and I want to buy the real estate. And back 3 or 4 years ago, there was a lot of banks putting out $1.2 million for a guy that hasn't shown an ounce of revenue yet. But these days, if a guy licensed under 2 years wants to go and buy a practice, he probably shouldn't, but in most respects, go and buy a practice that's grossing $1 million. Unless, however, and here's another deal I can give as an example, this guy's only been licensed 11 months. He's just under 12 months licensed, a full year license. The practice he's buying produces $850,000, I believe, off the top of my head. The actual doctor within the practice grosses about $550,000 of that. So, and then hygiene does the rest, and this and that. So he ends up, this doctor ends up being licensed so recently, for him to go and buy this practice at that large a loan size probably isn't a very wise thing. However, he's got a copy of his production numbers. He's currently an associate, and he's in a large practice that apparently he's extremely busy, and he's on pace to be producing close to $1 million a year as an associate. So we're taking those production numbers, a copy of his production report, and we're saying, okay, this doctor's credit is clean, he's got a little bit of cash on hand, he's licensed under 2 years, but look at all these other factors, and we're throwing that in, and he's fully approved, he's in the documentation process at this point. So it's not always a cookie cutter type transaction, but as I put that in there for a reason. License under 2 years there's got to be some sort of strengths to it to kind of look outside the box.
Right. Good. Okay. That's good. Let's see now. First lien is always really basically always required. Graduated step payment plans are available. And then as far as practice sales or listings, especially the different appraising methods, right? Our database is extensive and deep. We cannot get an immediate buyer of the practice market through many different channels. Really finding the seller is the key point. When you find a seller, you're going to be able to get buyers. Like the listings are the key point here. Isn't that right?
Yeah, and I mean, to an extent, you'll be able to find a buyer. I mean, a rural area is obviously the pool of buyers shrinks.
On the other hand,
if you're talking about
buyers.
a great metropolitan area like Chicago or New York, LA, or parts of Florida.
Well, there are buyers there. There are. I mean,
there's plenty of buyers. The seller, the buyers in kind of the off the beaten path area, it kind of shrinks. But sometimes there's the opportunistic guy who says, "Wow, look how much lower my overhead is in that particular area," or "What a great opportunity." So, it's the marriage of a buyer and seller is complicated in a lot of ways. And sometimes these practice sales, I'm telling you, you can work a full year on and not have anything happen. But there's the other times where within 30 days we've got that practice sold. And just to understand the commissions on that so that you'll understand, usually we'll put a 10% listing agreement on the practice.
Okay.
And so in that particular case, I can give up 2.5% of that. But we have to, there's a ton of work that goes in, preferably whoever brings the deal is kind of involved a little bit. We'll do it either way. You can just send us that particular name, and we'll run with it from there, and we'll have you earmarked as a commission, or whatever works out best. But that's a seller. And then all of a sudden, if you have a buyer, someone that that's in the medical field, says, well, I want to buy a practice in these locations. Well, we've got ways of finding buyers. We've got a database of buyers. We've got a database of buyers that have gone inactive because for whatever reason they decided not to sell, or nevertheless, it's making the marriage. It's not so much focused on just the seller as much as the focus is there, but you could still also focus a little bit on the potential buyer, finding that buyer, and then we can make that sort of union between the two somehow, some way.
Okay. Well, good. Well, we've covered a lot of ground here. Hey, Lane, do you have any other questions you want to bring up or anything?
No, I just want to make a point that, based on this information, I really am going to, we're going to add this to our repertoire this year of focus. And I think this is another one of those low-hanging fruit opportunities that we should all focus on. Great for the economy and just attractive in so many respects. I'm really excited about the program, actually.
Yeah, well, we've got some experience with it from last year, which is good too. I mean, it's just been very positive. So.
Yeah, and we're currently in meetings consistently on developing new products, and I'll be sure and get those to you. But there's a couple exciting products that through the course of this conversation we kind of mentioned competition, and we kind of mentioned hey, what works. I've got some products that that will be coming out here that really will give us an edge, give everyone an edge. But not that we're not capable of taking a lot of business as it is, but I'll be sure and pass along the good news as it comes. And, you know, for instance, Lane and I were talking about a podiatry deal. Podiatry's been a little bit hard for us, but I should have a new program for that within the next in the next month, and that I'll be sure and pass all that good news along to you guys.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we have a deal in process, Richard. So.
Oh, good. Excellent.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yep. Well, excellent. Well, really exciting. We're going to be sharing some of our student success stories soon on this one. And I want to thank you, George, for your time so much. And Lane, thank you. And we'll all talk to you soon, and we'll start getting some more deals going here.
Awesome.
Cheers to that, and I appreciate the opportunity. I look forward to doing more business with you guys.
Me too. Pleasure. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.